When your identity gets stolen, there is one powerful piece of evidence you can demand to help prove it. And one giant company just paid $2.25 million for refusing to hand it over. This is not really a story about one company. It is about a right you already have that almost nobody knows how to use. What if the records that could clear your name after fraud were sitting in a company's system and the law says they have to give them to you? Meet Victor. Someone opened accounts in his name and went on a spending spree. When he tried to get the records to prove he never made those charges, he hit a wall and the fraud kept dragging his credit down. Following Victor, we cover 4 things. What the government just caught Amazon doing. Why these records are the key to clearing your name. The exact right you have under federal law to demand them. And the moves to recover if your identity is ever stolen. Here is the catch. This right only works if you ask for it correctly, in writing, with the right paperwork attached. In about 2 minutes, I will hand you the exact request that pries those records loose, and it could be what finally clears your name. Part 1. What the government actually caught Amazon doing. In June of 2026, the Federal Trade Commission required Amazon to pay $2.25 million to resolve charges that it knowingly broke the Fair Credit Reporting Act. The specific issue was a part of that law written to protect identity theft victims, a company sitting on the exact records fraud victims needed. And the government said they were not handing them over. Here is the piece of the law that matters. There is a section 609E, that gives an identity theft victim the right to ask a business for its records of the transactions the thief made in the victim's name. If someone opened an account with a company and ran up charges pretending to be you, you have the right to request those business records. The government's charge was that Amazon knew about this obligation and still failed to give victims those records the way the law requires, or made it far too hard. Rather than keep fighting, Amazon agreed to pay the $2.25 million and resolve it. For Victor, this is the moment something clicks. The wall he kept hitting was not just bad luck. It was exactly the kind of stonewalling this law was written to stop. Without the records, you are just saying it was not me. With them, you can prove it. Here is why these records matter so much. When your identity is stolen, everyone wants proof. The bank wants proof before it removes the charges. The credit bureaus want proof before they delete the fraudulent account. The police want details for the report. And one of the strongest ways to show it was not you is the record of the transaction itself. Those records can show where an order shipped, what email opened the account, what device or address was used, none of which match you. That is some of the strongest evidence you can put behind your word. It is the difference between pleading and documenting your case. The fraud stays on your credit until you can show it was not yours. These records are some of your strongest proof. And every week those records stay locked away is another week the fake accounts sit on your credit report, dragging down your score, blocking you from loans, and haunting every application you fill out. The delay itself is part of the damage. That is why a company refusing to hand them over is not a small thing. It can keep a victim trapped for months. For Victor, this reframes his whole fight. He was not asking for a favor. He was asking for one powerful piece of evidence that could help him clear his report. Quick pause. If nobody has ever told you that fraud victims have a legal right to demand these records, hit like and drop a comment below. I read every comment and reply personally. Share this with anyone who has been through identity theft, and do not forget to subscribe because we put out several new videos every week. Drop a comment and tell me, have you or someone close to you ever had their identity stolen? Yes or no? I want to see how many of us this has touched. Part 3. The exact right you have under federal law and how to invoke it. This right is quiet, but it is powerful, and it is yours. Under Section 609E of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, if you are a victim of identity theft, you can require a business to give you the application and transaction records tied to the fraud committed in your name. This applies to the company where the thief opened the account or made the charges. To use it, you generally have to do 3 things. Make the request in writing, prove who you are so they know you are really the victim, and provide an identity theft report, which usually means a report filed with the government or with the police. Give them those pieces, and the law says they are supposed to provide the records, generally at no charge to you. The reason this is so useful is that it flips the power. Instead of begging a company to help, you are invoking a specific federal right and pointing to the exact section that requires them to act. Companies move differently when they see you know the law. For Victor, this is the tool he never knew he had. Not a plea, but a written demand with the weight of federal law behind it. Part 4. the moves to recover if your identity is ever stolen, and the honest caveats. Recovery is a sequence. Do it in order, and each step makes the next one stronger. Move 1. Report the theft officially. Start at the government's identity theft site, identitytheft.gov, which walks you through it and creates an identity theft report, and file a police report as well. That report is the paperwork that unlocks everything else. Move 2. Send the written request for records to any business where the thief opened an account. Point to your right as an identity theft victim, attach your proof of identity and your identity theft report, and ask for the application and transaction records tied to the fraud. Keep a copy of everything you send. Move 3. Use those records to dispute the fraudulent accounts with the credit bureaus and lock things down while you do it. Add a fraud alert or a credit freeze so the thief cannot open anything new. The records are your evidence. The dispute clears your report, and the freeze stops the bleeding. Now, the honest caveats. This right covers the records of the fraud. It is not a magic delete button for your whole credit report, and clearing everything can still take patience and follow-up. And be careful who you trust. You do not need to pay a company to exercise a right the law already gives you for free. But used correctly, this turns a victim into someone with a documented, provable case. For Victor, that is everything. All right, let's lock this in. Part 1. The Federal Trade Commission made Amazon pay $2.25 million for failing to give identity theft victims records the law requires. Part 2. Those records are the key because they are strong evidence that turns your word into a documented case and helps get fraud off your report. Part 3. Under Section 609E of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, you can demand a business hand over the records of the fraud in writing with proof of identity and an identity theft report. Part 4. Report at identitytheft.gov and to the police. Send the written request for records, then dispute the fraudulent accounts and add a fraud alert or freeze. You are not at the mercy of a company after fraud. The law gives you the right to demand the very proof that clears your name. None of this is about living in fear of identity theft. It is about knowing that if it ever happens to you, you hold a right most people never use. And it can be the thing that finally sets your credit straight. If this helped you, give it a like and drop a comment below. I read every single comment and reply personally to your questions. Send this to someone who has been through identity theft, and make sure you subscribe because we put out several new videos every week. And the next video you should watch could quietly raise your score without you paying off a single extra dollar. It is about a hidden timing trap with your credit card, where you can pay on time every month and still look maxed out to the bureaus, and the simple move that fixes it before your balance ever reports. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. It'll be uploaded within the next 2 days. See you there.